Hello, my loves. Welcome back to Awaken Her, the podcast that helps you rebuild, renew, and rise into your divine purpose. I'm your host, Aji Michael, and today we're having one of those girly table talk episodes. But first, can we just take a moment to breathe into the beauty of our May prayer retreat? Wow. My lovely friend Lamide hosted this event and it was refreshing, seriously. I felt the presence of God, in a new way. As a matter of fact, after the prayer meeting, someone messaged me and I said, "Oh, I want to have my late dinner." She said, "Oh, you really need it because wow, that meeting was something else." She said that jokingly anyway. And, it was so refreshing, like I said, and I am still soaking in. Now, if you missed it, don't worry. I want to encourage you to head over to hislady.org, join our list so that you don't miss any of our prayer retreats at all. The link is in the show notes. It is hislady.org. That is hislady.org. hislady.org. That sounds like an advert, right? All right, now on to today's conversation. I want to talk about something that's been stirring in me for a while. And it's this little sneaky voice that shows up whenever it's time to charge for our gifts. You know this one. For example, should I really charge for this? Or the voice might be, isn't this what I'm called to do? Right? Or maybe I'll just do it for free and let God reward me. And now let's not even get started on the guilt some people try to use. Like, I thought you were a woman of God. Seriously? No, even a woman of God, even though, I call this a ministry. Am I not supposed to get paid doing ministry work? Sis, I had one of these few vulnerable conversations with my inner circle about this topic lately. And guess what? Even the best of us battle with this. And that's why today I want us to talk about the 5 mindset traps that stop women from getting paid, even when they're gifted, ready, and called. Are you ready? Let's look at trap number 1. Why will anyone pay me? Now, this is the dream killer. You have the vision, the plan, the skills. But this one sentence shuts it all down. Now, here's what you need to ask yourself. What if it works? I want you to write down 3 results you've helped someone get, even informally. Write them down. 1, I help Shade. 2, I help Buki. 3, I help Rose. And write exactly the things you help them to do, the skills you used to help them. It could be your communication skills, it could be your planning skills, it could be your organizational skills. What are those 3 things that you've helped someone to do? It could be strategic thinking. It could be, the ability to be able to think through things and come up with a plan. That's a proof. Now you now replace that lie with the truth. I carry solutions. I deserve to be paid for impact. All right. Now, let's look at trap number 2. I need to be an expert first. Says, people don't pay for perfect. They pay for results. You only need to be a few steps ahead of the person you're called to serve. And that's it. Period. Now, this is not saying that if you require certification, you can't. Yes, there are some jobs or some services you may not provide or without getting the license, this is not stopping you from, if you need to be certified. But what I'm saying is, even with the certification, you can still be providing the service while working on your certification. I want us to to be clear on that, right? So if you need to be chartered in these, or you need to get all of these big names, whatever it is. What I'm saying is you do not need to have all of that in order for you to be able to provide your service. Okay? So I want you to reflect. Where have I downplayed my progress because I don't feel perfect? Now, reflect on which area, where have you shrink, where have you kind of like charged less, or even you did not even charge at all, simply because you felt that you didn't have all of these big names. Now, the next thing that you want to do is you want to write, I am qualified by experience, not perfection. I am qualified by my skill set, not perfection. Okay, let's look at trap number 3. We're all going to get paid. Remember, this year, 2025, we are manifesting, and this mindset traps might just be what is holding you back. So this is the time for you to let loose, girl, right? Let's move on to trap number 3. It's unholy to profit from my gift. Now, let's break this one. Let's really be honest. Paul was a tent maker. Lydia sold purple cloth. Jesus had a treasurer. Says God never called us to burn out for free. He called us to steward our gift. All right. So I want you to get your journal if you have one. I think if you've been listening to my episode now, you should have a journal, right? It's our tradition. Now, in your journal, I want you to write, what belief did I inherit about money and ministry? We've all been wired that when something is a ministry, then it's supposed to be free. I was like that for many years. Now rewrite their story. God delights in me prospering as I serve. I want to say that again. God delights in me prospering as I serve. And that's from Psalm 35, verse 27. Trap number 4. People can't afford me. Wow. This one is wrapped in guilt. Now it says, it's not your job to budget for someone else. It's your job to position your value. Let them decide what they can afford. Now, here's what I want you to do in order for you to activate this trap. Audit your pricing. Is it rooted in fear or in value? It took me a long time to revisit my pricing. And I remember having a conversation with my dear friend Davis, and he was saying to me, Aji, your clients will come to you. It's important for you also to reflect. I see all over the internet, people just say, charge high price, charge high price. Are you delivering value? Your end-to-end point from people contacting you, whether it's through your website, how is your customer experience from point of connecting with you or contacting you to the point of purchase and also after sales? It's important to recognize that you are adding value at every point, that you are not overpricing or undercharging. Hence the reason why I've said, audit your pricing. Is it rooted in fear or in value? Now, I want to encourage you to practice saying your rate aloud until it feels natural. I charge, say for example, £550 per day. I recently told someone else asked me to do something for them, and I sent them an invoice, and they were asking me, oh, Aji, what's this invoice for? And I said, I don't even do anything less than £100 at all. So the minimum thing, you can get from me is £100 invoice, so like I wouldn't, even though you asked me to just sign something, so like the minimum price for my office is £100. And they said, oh, okay, now I know that. Yeah, of course, read my terms and conditions. Okay, so it takes us to trap Number 5, helping others means sacrificing myself. Listen, girlfriend, serving from depletion is not noble at all. It is harmful. You can help people and still have boundaries. You can minister and still make money, right? But the point is you need to create boundaries around your life, around what you do. Sometimes some people will tell me, oh, there's one lady, she has some problems. Actually, maybe you would like to speak to the person. I'll tell them, have you shared my podcast with them? You cannot listen to 3 or 4 episodes of my podcast and you will not get help. I don't need to listen to all stories. That's the kind of boundaries I've created around myself. Somebody having marriage problems, how many books have they read at all? That's the kind of thing people, when you're not willing to invest in yourself, why would I really get borne out over your matter? All right? So the activation for that is I want to encourage you to create a yes with conditions boundary for your time or services. An example is what I've given in terms of mine. When people, want to refer someone to me simply because they know I have a women's ministry, hey, lady, they just think I'm interested in people's gist. Before you know, it just become a gist, not really helping people. You're just sucking in people's problems. So my yes with conditions is, I will just share, can you share with them this podcast, this podcast, or can you share with them this book? Let them have a read. When I speak with them, then we can talk about, have you read this book? What are your thoughts, right? So you can see that's a yes, and I'm putting conditions and boundaries for my time and services, right? So when this individual, by the time they read the book or listen to a couple of podcast episodes, then I can ask questions. If you listen to this, what are your thoughts around this? What are your thoughts around it? Then I'll know what sort of help this person require. But when they're not even willing to sit down to listen to 11 minutes, 10 minutes podcast or 15 minutes podcast, intentionally I make all my podcasts easy for people to just digest. Now, when you listen to my podcast episodes and you now require support, then I'll know exactly what is it you require. Or I can recommend you to colleagues that I know could help you, whether it's in terms of marriage, business, whatsoever. But if you're not willing to sit down, spend 30 minutes on hour, read books or listen to podcasts to support yourself, I'm sorry, you will not get to your time on my calendar. It's as simple as that, right? So I want to encourage you, create a yes with conditions boundary for your time or services. The next thing I want to encourage you to do is to write this on a sticky note. I help from wholeness, not burnout. Stick it. I help from wholeness, not burnout. All right, sis? The reason you're stuck isn't because you are not smart enough. The reason you are stuck or you are within a particular income bracket is not because you're not ready, not because you're not enough or you're not spiritual enough. It's simply because of the stories you've been told about your worth. But the good news, stories can be rewritten, and I believe today is your rewrite. Now, if you enjoyed this episode, I want to encourage you to join our list for weekly Soul Sunday emails and updates on our upcoming events and retreats. This is your season to rise, sis, and you don't have to do it all by yourself. Head over to hislady.org and get on our list. Now, before I go, I want to say, please leave a comment, like this episode, and also share with all of your fabulous friends, right? Because your healing isn't just for you, it's for the woman who needs your rise. Until next time, my name is Haji Michael, and I'll see you next week. Until next time, until next time, my name is Haji Michael, and I'll see you next week.